from the soul with it. Yeah.
So Brandon Ingram has played exceptionally well these past couple of preseason games. With the regular season approaching, everyone can see glimpses of Brandon Ingram and the superstar potential that he has. As a rookie, Brandon Ingram, fellow rookies voted Ingram as the only player in the draft most likely to have the most NBA success. With the addition of LeBron James, NBA GMs are expecting that Brandon Ingram will have a breakout season. From averaging 9 points per game in his rookie season, Ingram took a huge leap in his sophomore season by averaging 16 points per game. Just knowing that every player's situation is different, I wanted to look at a few other all-star players at Brandon Ingram's position to compare and show you how Brandon Ingram is actually ahead of a lot of these all-stars, especially if you factor in the timing and his age. Also keep in mind, none of these players had the luxury but are facilitated by nature in LeBron James so early in their careers. Kawhi Leonard was traded to the San Antonio Spurs and he wasn't starting right away, but he did have games where he did start. So according to Basketball Reference, Kawhi Leonard started in his second NBA season. At age 21, Kawhi only averaged 11 points per game, playing roughly about 31 minutes per game. At age 20, Brandon Ingram averaged 16 points per game, playing roughly about 33 minutes per game. Kawhi Leonard started the following season at age 22 and only averaged 12 points per game. And he didn't average 16 points per game until his fourth season at 23 years of age. Brandon Ingram is now 21 years old and is much younger than Kawhi was when he averaged 16 points per game. Now with that being said, it isn't guaranteed that Ingram will be better than Kawhi, but according to these numbers and these resources that are available at his disposal this year, Brandon Ingram has a chance to become a superstar overnight. Another player who progressed throughout his career was Paul George. According to Basketball Reference, Paul George did not start his rookie season, but did start in his sophomore season. At age 21, Paul George averaged only 12 points per game. Keep in mind, Paul George was a year older than Ingram and still didn't average what Ingram averaged, and only averaged a point more than Ingram in his third year at the age of 22. Ingram does have to vastly improve his free throw percentage. Both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George shot well over 80%. But if Ingram has progressed as a better shooter from the past offseason, we can expect Ingram to shoot, let's say, about well over 75 to 78% from the free throw line. Brandon Ingram is now 21 years old and is now playing alongside one of the best players in the NBA and has a chance to become an all-star. Though Brandon Ingram has superstar potential, there's no question it's definitely now ticking. Stats prove that Ingram was in fact better than Paul George and Kawhi Leonard at their age. I mean, if you want to be technical, Ingram scored 9 points and Paul George and Kawhi only scored 7. 7 points, bro. Okay. But like I stated, neither of these players were fortunate enough to have a player like LeBron James beside them, who some believe is the greatest player in the world in their third year. With LeBron James demanding so much attention, Ingram will have a ton of open looks from 3 and from the mid-range. If the lanes aren't open and Ingram is guarded by elite defenders, he'll be forced to take a lot of shots. And if he's unable to make these shots, then there will be a huge cause for concern. With driving the lane against some players and some teams who won't make the playoffs, Ingram will have the opportunity to, get to the free throw line a ton. But against elite teams such as Golden State, Houston, the Thunder, against elite all-stars, I can expect the game to be officiated much different. So why is the clock ticking on Brandon Ingram? Just based off recent history, LeBron James has always been in championship now mode. Whether it was going to Miami and teaming up with Chris Bosh, D Wade, and acquiring Ray Allen, to going back home, the Cavs already having an all-star and Kyrie Irving, for trading for a potential all-star and Andrew Wiggins. Notice I said potential all-star Andrew Wiggins. Potential. then trading them for Kevin Love. I'm one who still believe that LeBron should have been patient with Andrew Wiggins and helped mold him into a superstar and had a potential lineup of Kyrie, Wiggins on the wing, LeBron on the other side, and still look to sign a big free agent that summer. Because if you think about it, you still lost that first season in the finals, but you still could have made it to the finals that next year anyway. And now you're in a similar position with the Lakers, except there isn't an all-star already on the team. And looking back, the Cavs could have had a balance of young players and superstar vets if they could have signed more free agents. If LeBron was in championship mode in his mid-20s, what make you think he is in a championship mode going into his mid-30s? Ingram will have to make a huge leap in his third season. You know, potential doesn't win championships. It's either you got it or you don't. It's either you got it or you don't wearing that purple and gold. You know, that's just how us fans are. Like, the trade rumors will ramp up by the deadline. So Ingram has to prove that when they meet Paul George, that, hey, Paul George, we ain't need you anyway. LeBron got me. We ain't need you anyway. When he goes to play Kawhi Leonard, he has to prove to himself, to LeBron, the front office, that I belong here. I belong here. Trading me will be the dumbest decision you've ever made. A lot of people are like, man, you can't be like that. The Laker fans are too harsh. They put too much pressure on these players. That's just the way we are. We demand greatness. Notice the greatest players never had a problem with Laker fans and the pressure that's being put on them. Kareem never had an issue with Laker fans. Magic Johnson never had an issue. Kobe Bryant never had an issue. Shaquille O'Neal never had an issue. Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. Like I said, you have one of the greatest players on your team, and there are no excuses for being anything short of greatness. You have to prove to us that they shouldn't take a risk and trade for Kawhi Leonard at the deadline, that you can make the playoffs alongside LeBron. You know, you have 3 former NBA champions on your team, and Rajon Rondo, LeBron James, and JaVale McGee, so it's no excuses. No excuses. Potential got D'Angelo Russell traded. Potential got Jordan Clarkson traded. Potential is part of the reason why Julius Randle is gone. So to all the Lakers fans out there, root for Brandon Ingram to become a superstar. Root for Brandon Ingram to be great, but don't get attached to any of these players. Just having potential can get you traded. Magic Johnson said Brandon Ingram was untouchable before LeBron got there. Now Brandon Ingram has to show us on the court why Magic Johnson, and repeat that same quote, that Brandon Ingram is going to remain untouchable. And you have to prove to us why the Lakers should reset the clock.